Hi guys, I just want to say thanks for the response this last part got. It was incredible. It just went nuts and it managed to push my channel to 1k and that was incredible to me. So like I said, I just wanted to say thanks and I want to jump right into it because I know people are looking forward to it. And let's start. We see our hero in the World Tournament arena, staring down his rival and friend, Krillin. The two share a grin and charge at one another. However, things then go black, and the sound of Vegeta saying over the scouter, "Wake up," gets Kakarot up. They are nearly at the planet, with this pulling Goku out of another dream. Over the last few years, Goku had found himself dreaming a lot about Earth, something that seemed to be a distant memory from his past. With him often remembering all the good times he had back on his home planet, to the point where he's even remembered people he would have forgotten. The likes of Chi Chi and others have come back to him. However, for now, Goku is stuck out in space, with him currently on a mission with all the Saiyans, heading towards a planet to capture for Frieza. With this mission being something that he and Raditz could have handled alone, but Frieza sent all of them, and once arriving on the planet, it goes like normal. Raditz and Goku stick close to one another, while Vegeta and Nappa fly around destroying everything in sight. Whereas Goku and Raditz are more inclined to not destroy buildings or kill people, with this being part of the deal Raditz had made with Goku years ago, he has gotten a lot more used to it and actually actively tries to save people. He still fights people who will, fight back, such as military soldiers or anything of the sort, but he does leave any buildings relatively unharmed. The true saviour though is Goku. Goku will actively go out of his way to make sure civilians won't get hurt. A falling building, he will destroy it. A stray key beam, he will block it. He's gained a little bit of a rep for himself, but we'll come into that later. Now, this mission for the most part is easy for all the Saiyans, and they finish it very fast, with this leading to the group leaving the planet after a short job, with Raditz and Goku leaving before Vegeta and Nappa, with Vegeta and Nappa wanting to spend a bit more time messing around on the planet before leaving, with Goku and Raditz explaining how they would head off and wait on the nearby Frieza planet. They need to report to Frieza whenever these two are done mucking around. And after a short trip, they arrive on the Frieza planet, with Goku and Raditz heading towards the cafeteria. They eat in silence before heading off to their quarters, where the two suddenly change massively in personality. After turning off their scouters, Goku once again changes back into his happy-go-lucky self from Earth, and Raditz changes to a bit of more like his brother. The two begin to joke with one another, and Raditz mocks his brother for not changing over the last 8 years, with Goku laughing as he finds it hilarious how Raditz has changed quite a bit since back then, and this bothers Raditz, and the two get into a bit of a argument. However, after a short shouting match, the two get serious, with Goku saying how even though it's been 5 years, they aren't any step closer to being able to take down Frieza. At the rate they're growing right now, it may not ever happen, with Raditz agreeing quietly. You see, during this time the two had kept up their training, but because they could only train for maybe a day or two every mission, it led to the time they spent training being very minimal. And sometimes they would get lucky and get a planet with high gravity, which definitely helped, but for the most part they really didn't get much chance to train. In a year they would probably only spend 1 month of it training, and it just wasn't helping them grow fast. They knew they needed to come up with some different way to train, but they just couldn't find it. But for now they've got to stick with what they know, and hopefully one day they'll get a chance to grow stronger. Now, on the plus side, years ago they managed to take over the Prince, but Vegeta just doesn't know it. You see, after Raditz had been taught Goku's own variation of how to suppress energy, the two brothers slowly worked out how to conceal it in even more and more power. You see, I got my facts wrong in the last part. This probably wasn't Goku figuring out how to do it, but I'm going to say it was, and Goku has mutated his own variation of key concealment, where he slowly worked on it with his brother, and now they can actually suppress their energy by massive amounts, with this leading to them to be able to do it with ease. However, they tend to struggle whenever in combat. As long as they aren't having to try too hard, it's alright for them. Like I said, over the years they had worked on this ability very much. And another thing that Goku had taught his brother is how to sense energy without a scouter. And Goku was reluctant to show his brother this technique at first, wanting to keep something up his sleeve. However, when Raditz noticed Goku being able to point out enemies without his scouter on, he caught on and demanded to get taught how to do it, with Goku not minding too much, but it was still just something he wanted to try and keep to himself. And now, when they're on missions, they can keep track of what's happening while they're in combat. With Goku trying to lighten the mood after this dark time, he says how they just need a bit more time to train on a planet with high gravity. Let's just hope the next mission comes around like that, hey? With the two brothers sort of unoptimistically cheering after this, they fall asleep and wake up the next day to the sound of Vegeta and Nappa coming through the door, and the two don't waste any time to start mocking both Kakarot and Raditz, with them both pointing out how the two low-class warriors are playing Frieza's favourites again, by hardly destroying the cities and also leaving most people alive. Well, we changed that. And for this to make sense, I'm going to jump back to a few days after the mission we last saw them on, and the planet they started their planet on. With them following through with the idea of what Goku suggested, they are called to Frieza's ship by Frieza himself. With this worrying the two, as they don't really understand what they could, want with them. And once again, Goku has come face to face with the Emperor, who asked the two why the mission had taken them so long, with Raditz leading on to explain how the aliens on the planet just outnumbered them by so much that even if they had greater power levels, it still caused them some issues, with Frieza sort of accepting this. He then goes on to say that his reports from his soldiers say that most, if not all, the civilians are alive. Alongside this, all buildings were left in good shape and in working condition. Why is that? With Frieza trying to figure out why the Saiyans didn't destroy everything like normal, Raditz stumbles over a little bit before coming to the idea and saying that it was to make the planet better for you to conquer, Emperor. If we leave the people alive, you can enslave them, have more workers, and also if the buildings are around, you already have the resources they have, and this would lead to your empire growing stronger. With Frieza thinking about this a little bit, he stands there smiling, saying how he is happy to see that some monkeys have brains. This is great, and from now on he would like all missions to be done like this. And that includes the likes of Vegeta and Nappa, with Goku snickering a little bit, thinking it would be funny for them. And Frieza says how yes, it is funny. And could I ask, young Saiyan, was this your idea? After all, this change came about once you showed up. With Goku saying yes, and Frieza laughs to himself again, thinking how the low class seem civilized than those of the high class. This is incredible. He then dismisses the two and sends them off on another mission, with him telling them well done. Not in a genuine way, he's obviously mocking them, but for the most part, Raditz feels like they've managed to sneak their way into Frieza's good book. Raditz not really believing this to be the best place to operate, he does like the fact that Frieza might turn a blind eye every now and again though, so they decide that this was where they'll try and stay for now. Now back in the present, we see Vegeta pointing out what happened on the planet, and something we need to know about Vegeta here, he isn't liking these new rules. Once he was told them, he was angry as hell, and even went to beat up Goku and Raditz. However, he calmed himself, and he does follow the rules. However, he will destroy the cities that Goku and Raditz operate in now, to make it look like they're not doing their job. However, everyone knows it to be Vegeta doing this, but no one really says anything. Now, Vegeta oftenly points out how this is their fault, they can't have fun while destroying planets now. Goku says how he's just following Frieza's orders, and if he has an issue with that, follow it up with him. But Goku just smiles after saying this, and Vegeta begins to grow frustrated. He wants to fight Goku, with Goku losing his Saiyan-like personality, and turns back to Earth Goku. He drops the cocky persona and apologises to Vegeta, saying how he was in the wrong. You are royalty. Trying to suck up a little bit. Vegeta for the most part sort of taking this apology. However, he does give Goku a quick gut punch, with Goku wanting to retaliate but not. You see, over the last few years, these two have been bashing heads a lot. You see, around the time Goku had his growth spurt, it made him taller than Vegeta, and Goku trying to get to bond with the Saiyans made a joke about it. However, this just led to Vegeta getting very angry, and Vegeta actually really badly beat Goku up at this point. This is back when Vegeta was the strongest Saiyan around. And over time, Goku and Vegeta have bashed heads again and again and again. Even Goku and Nappa get on better than Goku and Vegeta do, and it's not even like they have a great relationship. In Goku's eyes, these Saiyans are too far gone. He does hope that killing Frieza would change them, however he isn't holding on to any hope for it. Now with the small social meeting between the Saiyans done, they all know that they need to head off towards Frieza to report the most recent mission, and after a short trip they arrive, with Frieza happy to hear the reports from the mission, and he actually sees the fact that the city both Goku and Raditz were operating in was destroyed. He asks what happened there, and Goku and Raditz both apologise, saying how they got a little bit carried away. They do apologise, Lord Frieza. And Frieza's just happy to see his favourite monkeys are following orders. He has taken a bit of a liking to Raditz and Goku. Not to any standard where he would treat them like Zarbon and Dodoria, not even like Huey, but he can tolerate them the most out of all the Saiyans. And Raditz and Goku, knowing this, do tend to try and play his favourites, and this does lead to him being able to sort of tolerate them. He will kill them, if need be, without a second thought, but for now, they're playing under his rules. He'll be nice. With him handing out new missions, he also makes sure to take a reading of everyone's powers. The reason this is he had a report of a high power level showing up on one of the Saiyans' missions, and he's been trying to keep an eye out for it. He's come down to the idea that maybe it was a skeletal malfunction, but apparently the power surpassed that of Vegeta's. This was a year or two ago, and he's just been keeping an eye out for it, that's all. But he has noticed something very interesting this one time. It seems that Raditz and Goku had both overtaken Nappa. With him seeing a chance to make fun of both Nappa and Vegeta, he quickly says how, if the elites aren't careful, it seems like the low class will overtake them soon, before sending them off laughing to himself as they leave. With the teams being split up once again, Raditz and Goku are going on a mission with one another. With this being a short trip, they mostly meditate during this trip. However, Goku and Raditz do sleep for a while during it, and once again, we see Goku dreaming. He is at Kame House, with him seeing the likes of Tien, Yamcha, Krillin all training with one another. He runs over to them to try and join in to have a fun sparring match. However, just before he gets there, everything goes black and he wakes up. He can't ever seem to enjoy the fight he wants to have. He doesn't enjoy combat at the moment. It's for horrible reasons. It's not for the fun of it. And that's all Goku craves right now. A good fun spar. But for now it seems like a distant dream once again. Raditz has noticed something is up with his brother, and it's not very Saiyan-like to talk about it, so it is never brought up, but he has been keeping an eye on him. With the two getting close to the planet's cities, they quickly turn away to land in a nearby desert. It's not the best place to train, as there's not many resources nearby, and it will lead to them having to make long trips to get things like food and water. They do land and get ready to start training, with them leaving their scouters in their pods once again. With them getting ready to train, they see someone walking out from the distance. He shouts out, "Hello there, you guys wouldn't happen to be the Saiyans, would ya?" With this person grabbing the attention of both Goku and Raditz, they both take a fighting stance. However, Raditz sees the symbol on his chest, and this makes him laugh. And he explains to his younger brother, "Galactic Patrol, don't worry about them, Kakarot. They don't pose any threats. These guys are too scared to face up to Frieza. They'll avoid the likes of us. They've been avoiding Frieza for years." With the alien getting visibly angry, he takes a moment to recollect himself before introducing himself. With Raditz having stopped listening a while ago, and Goku being the only one who's listening, he turns his attention towards him, introducing himself as Jacko. With Jacko going on to say how the pair are very difficult to get hold of. He's been trying to get hold of them for the better part of a year. With Goku asking why he was looking for them, Jacko goes on to explain how in the Galactic Patrol we'd be getting hundreds and hundreds of reports of two Saiyans who are acting really strange. They aren't brutal, they've been leaving people alive who are innocent. They've been leaving cities unharmed. The Galactic King took interest in this, and he's been following your work for ages. You guys being tailed for quite a long time, I'm kind of surprised you didn't notice it. We would show up after you've left the planet, but every time you landed on a planet, you would leave it unharmed, and we couldn't ever figure out why. And then you made this whole thing more confusing. Some reports claim that Usains are actively defending people, civilians from falling buildings or a stray beam. Raditz shouting out how this was such a stupid idea. I told you if you kept saving people, someone would catch on and figure out that he was a softie, with Raditz laughing to himself. Jacko, looking towards Goku, says that was it him who's been saving people? And Goku nods. Jacko does take note of this, and then asks why the two have landed so far away from the nearby city. Wouldn't it be easier to capture the planet if they were over there? With him thinking that it might be some sort of battle ritual, he's shocked to hear when Goku responds quite casually that they are here to train. Goku is being so honest with this guy right now, as he can tell Jacko is a good person. And from the things he's heard of the Galactic Patrol, they're kind of like the heroes of the universe. And they've been helping loads of people, but they've just been avoiding Frieza. Raditz does shout out to his brother to not share any more information. Don't be stupid, Kakarot, he says. However, Jacko then asks something which makes both the brothers freeze. He asks if they are training to defeat Frieza. With Raditz thinking Jacko might be one of Frieza's men, he quickly turns towards the alien and rushes him. However, when he's just a few inches away from hitting the galactic officer, he's hit by a beam which comes in from the side, hitting Raditz and stunning him in place, making him fall to the floor in fact. Goku turns to the direction where the bullet came from and senses out where the sniper shot from. With him sending a blast of air towards it, this knocks away the sniper. Goku then turning towards Jacko, who's holding a gun in one hand and his other hand is up to his ear, and he's shouting down something, saying how all of his men need to stand down now. With Goku taking a second to sense, he can tell that he is massively outnumbered right now. He continues to hold his fighting stance, but Jacko says something. He apologises to Goku almost immediately, saying how it wasn't supposed to go this way. He wanted it to be a nice, peaceful interaction, and he wanted to make this deal without any difficulties. But he also understands that Saiyans can be a bit hot-headed, and he knew he needed the insurance of his life. So that's why he has all these men here. He does apologise again. I need you to answer that question I asked Kakarot. Are you going to rebel against Frieza? With Goku taking a chance to feel what he should do, he believes the best thing to do is to tell the truth. He explains his brother and his plan. With Jacko smiling at hearing this, he says through the radio, the plan is a go. With Goku confused at this, he then turns around to see his pods completely destroyed. With him really confused at what's going on, Jacko quickly says to him, we are going to help you take down Frieza. With Goku shocked at hearing this, he doesn't really know what to do. He wishes his brother was up so he could come up with a plan. Goku's only really good at coming up with battle plans and training regimens, but other than that, he's not the smartest guy, but he's gonna try and play along to see what he can find out. With Jacko telling Kakarot to grab his brother and follow me. With the two following one another, Jacko goes on to explain how they've been planning to take down Frieza for a while, but they haven't had the firepower. Hopefully with you guys here, it'll be more than enough. But Goku goes on to say how, as much as we're strong, we are miles off being able to take down Frieza. We would need years of training to take him down. But Jacko smirks to this, saying how, once everything's sorted out with the king, I have a way for you to get stronger, don't worry. With this being said, they all jump into the ship and head off towards the Galactic Patrol base. With this being so the Saiyans can meet the Galactic King, they can have a rundown of the plan they have formed so far, and also make any changes they believe would fit better. But this trip is going to take them a few days to get there, so during this time, Goku and Jacko do get to know each other. It doesn't take long for Raditz to be able to start move again and begin to wake up, but it had been a few hours since he was shot. Keep in mind, this thing managed to stun a god Vegeta, so I believe it's more than possible for it to incapacitate Raditz for a few hours. And once this is done, Raditz begins to wake up, and he's seeing that he's in a ship, and then he fades to black, and he's seeing he's in a ship, and he can hear his brother talking. He's slowly waking up, and eventually he's fully awake. Not really able to move too much, but he's able to sort of squirm around. He asks what the hell is happening. with Goku turning to his brother, explaining how they're heading towards the Galactic Patrol base. Apparently, these guys are planning on taking down Frieza, and they want our help, and we're here to listen to the plan, at the very least. With Raditz confused, he calls his brother an idiot, saying how the Galactic Patrol have no chance up against Frieza, with Jacko agreeing, but he then says that that's why we've picked up you two. With Raditz a bit flustered that someone believes he's strong enough to take down Frieza, he goes quiet. Them then arriving at the base, they are given a quick tour on the way to see, the Galactic King, with Goku liking the fact the roles are reversed, with his brother being the one to be quietly shown around. And this is mostly because he doesn't want to be shot by another stun gun. It was really painful. With the two getting an offer to have their armour changed into Galactic Patrol gear, both decline, saying how they're going to keep their Saiyan armour, they want to hear this plan first. Right now, Jacko understands that. He believes that that actually sort of makes sense, and he continues to take them off towards the Galactic King. But they do also get an offer to have the Galactic logo put on their clothing, with both turning it down yet again, with Raditz saying how he doesn't want to get branded before hearing whatever this stupid plan is. The pair getting taken to meet the Galactic King, they are introduced, with him welcoming the pair. With Goku about to do a friendly introduction himself, Raditz cuts off his brother, saying how he wants this plan to be explained to us now, and if it's not good or it's dumb, we will be leaving. The Galactic King, chuckling to himself, he goes on to explain how they plan on attacking Frieza's planet. He's already taken hold of one of the nearby planets, and he's going to gather as many men as he possibly can there. And the moment they find out that King Cold has left the planet, they will begin on a full-on assault, with these two Saiyans being the main force that takes on Frieza, while his men slowly take down the rest of his soldiers, and some of the higher-ups will be able to take care of some of the stronger soldiers. But we need you to take on Frieza. You are our best shot at taking him down. It's getting sort of an idea of what this plan is, cuts off the king, saying how the plan's great, and I really like the part where we do all the heavy lifting, and you guys just deal with a small fry. But one small problem, we are miles off being able to defeat Frieza. With Jacko asking what their current power levels are, not that I believe the Galactic Patrol care too much for the numbers, but in comparison to Frieza, this would be a useful fact to have. With Raditz saying, last time we managed to check ourselves at full capacity, I managed to get up to 37,000, and Kakarot over there managed to get up to 40,000. So even if me and my brother were to fight together in Great Ape against Frieza, he's still stronger than us individually, plus we can't control the form. With Goku speaking up, saying how if they could give us some time to train, somewhere to train, where it would be beneficial, someone with higher gravity maybe, and give them some time, they would be able to train and defeat Frieza within maybe a year or two. Jacko hearing this, he speaks up saying how, if you agree to help us, I can give you somewhere to train. It will be the best place you can train in the universe. With Goku agreeing, and Raditz is quiet, he's thinking about his options, you see. He was thinking about going back to Frieza and continuing with what he was doing, but this won't get him anywhere, and he will end up living under Frieza for the rest of his life. But if he does this, if he has this chance to fight against him, this is his best chance. He agrees to do it as well. With Goku having already gone through this briefly on the trip over here, he knew his answer, he was just waiting to hear his brother's, with him giving his brother a smile. Galactic King happy to hear that he's probably gained two of the strongest allies he could have. He tells them that we will hold off this invasion until you two believe you are ready. You will tell us when, and the assault will begin. Good luck with your training. And like that, Jacko, Goku, and Raditz all leave, with Jacko explaining how he's taking them to a far-off planet where they'll be able to get some training in. And it's going to be a few-day flight. With Jacko and Goku talking once again, Jacko asks Kakarot why is he so different from the other Saiyans, with him responding that he was brought up on a planet called Earth, where he lived for a lot of his life, until his brother over there came and stole him away from his life. But that's why he guesses he's so different. He was brought up in a different environment to be nicer. With him also asking Jacko to start calling him Goku, everyone he's met in space calls him Kakarot, but he believes his Earthborn name is his true identity, which is Goku. with Jacko shocked to hear how Goku is from Earth, with Jacko saying how that's actually his planet he watches over, which leads to Goku's eyes sparking up out of pure joy. The Saiyan begins to barrage Jacko with loads of questions, and he kind of overwhelms Jacko, with Jacko asking him to slow down, and Goku just gets to the one question he wants to know. If he would be able to, after defeating Frieza, could he head back to Earth, to his home? With Jacko thinking about it, he says it shouldn't be an issue. He's a bit confused why, but he agrees. And Jacko sits there kind of stumbling over his thoughts. Goku, Goku, where have I heard that name before? He can't place his finger on it, but he's really struggling. He recognises it, but he can't think why. And he sits there thinking about it for a while, and eventually they arrive on a planet. Jacko gets out of the ship and points towards a pyramid. He tells them that this is the best place you can train in the galaxy. You see, in there, you will get more training than out here. Gravity's slightly different, and plus, 1 day out here is 3 days in there. So if you spend 2 days in there, you would have trained for 6 days. With him explaining a lot more of the details, and he explains how if they want to stay in there as long as you want. Make sure you don't die. After all, you are our last hope, with him sort of chuckling in a fearful kind of way. He goes on to explain how training there for a few days, come out, get some rest, go back in. As one officer will always be nearby to come and pick you guys up and to take you to the Galactic Patrol base. I would stick around myself and do it for you, but I'm the best officer we have on the force, so I have to go off and do really important missions. Being quite smug to himself, but he doesn't really mean it to sound smug, and with that he wishes the two good luck. With the two looking at one another really confused at how this room works, they head in, with the two shocked as the atmosphere in the chamber feels really weird. It takes some time for them to adjust, so while they are adjusting, the pair talk to one another about the battle they have agreed to fight, with Raditz voicing his issues about the plan, saying how it's a very risky plan and a full-on assault will be dangerous. After all, people like the Ginyu Force exist, and if King Cold doesn't leave the planet, they are up against two incredibly strong opponents that they are going to have a hard time fighting. If things even go remotely wrong, it's very dangerous, and he kind of wishes it was a different plan, but he understands that this might be their best bet. Goku does go on to respond, saying that it is their best bet, and if they don't do it, they're just going to live and die under Frieza, and Goku doesn't want to live like that. He wants to go back to Earth and see his friends again. With Raditz wanting to disagree, he understands that this is the best chance they have. With him understanding what his brother is saying, but is still kind of scared. You see, for the first time in the whole time Goku has known Raditz, he's showing genuine fear. It's not like when they're around Frieza where he has to show fearful respect. He honestly sees fear. Goku does notice this, and he goes to lift his brother's spirits, saying how un-Saiyan-like it is to be scared of a fight. With Raditz sort of chuckling, saying how that's rich coming from the softie. With the two smiling at one another, clearly the years together have led to a close bond. Goku becoming a lot more Saiyan-like, and Raditz becoming more Goku-like, with the two beginning to talk strategy and also thinking of training regimens that they could go through, with them realising that they can go all out against one another for the first time in years. With the pair walking out into the abyss, with them getting ready to have a good fight, Goku is clearly in the lead, not only in terms of power but in terms of technique. Raditz sees for the first time that his younger brother has surpassed him, and by even a small margin, his fighting style alone gives him the advantage. The two only spend 21 days in there just to adjust to how the time chamber feels, which is only a week on the outside, and they walk out seeing the Galactic Patrol officer they were assigned. He looks over to them, with both being quite heavily injured and quite beaten. They get taken back to the base to get healed, and they get some more food. They want to make a long trip out of the next time. However, before heading back, Raditz and Goku do one thing. They get their armor stamped with the Galactic Patrol symbol. They are officially members, not of any high ranking, but they are now allies at the minimum. with them heading back to where the pyramid is found. Them sending a radio message over to Jacko saying how they plan on spending 3 months in there, which in the time chamber should be about a year. And when this is done, you come and collect us, Jacko. Hopefully then we will be ready. With the two heading in, they tell the Galactic Patrol officer, who's the planet as sort of their taxi, to head off, do some other missions, or be ready for the upcoming battle. When the 3 months are up, Jacko will be here, and we will hopefully be ready. With Jacko hearing this transmission, he says to himself in his ship that he hopes they don't push themselves too hard. He jokingly said it before, but these guys really are their best bet of taking down Frieza. And with that, the two head in, with the next year of their lives being the hardest training they have ever gone through. They don't give themselves much rest, and when they do, it's only for a few hours. But after 3 months, Jacko shows up on the planet where the chamber is. He sits outside waiting for the two to come out, and after a few minutes of waiting, both Goku and Raditz walk out of the time chamber, saying only just a few words: "We are ready." And with that said and done, this is where I'm leaving this part. I know I've sort of not covered loads, but I'm sort of looking forward to doing the next part at the same time. So I'm actually going to do a part where I cover the events on Earth, which have happened over the last 5 years and a few months, and I will get into some detail about it. I'm going to do its own little part for it. It's probably not going to be too long. I say that, it'll be like half an hour knowing me. But yeah, I want to do something there because I already know how that story's gone. I think I just need to do some fine tuning, but off the top of my head, I already know what I want to do with it. Alongside that, I know how the next part's also going. If people would like to see this next part of this What If sooner, just hit the like button. I know I don't often ask for it, but I know a lot of people were looking forward to this part and it took me ages to get around to it. But if you show me that you want part 3 now, I will either do it for the second upload after this video or the third. It doesn't really matter, but let me know if people want this to be out sooner. I'm not feeling particularly burnt out. Actually, I'm really in the flow for this part now, and just let me know. I think this will even be coming out a bit earlier than I said, mostly because I'm really enjoying it. But anyway, like I said, I hope everyone has a great day or a good night. Let me know if you want the next part out earlier, and I'll see you next time.